The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid Carolina Service Company.
Mid Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
This episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Bob's. Bob's is a Columbia-based retailer of over 100 Black-owned products from 20 Black-owned businesses. Bob's offers a wide range of items from household cleaning, cosmetics, and everything in between. With every visit to Bob's, you support Black-owned businesses, giving them the opportunity to grow and establish connections with our community. Bob's is located inside the Noma warehouse at 2222 Sumter Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Visit their website, weshopbobs.com for in-store pickup or to find out more. Bob's can also be found via social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at weshopbobs. When you stop by, tell them the Hilltop Glove sent you. Bob's brings quality Black brands to the Columbia community. The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Red Rooster Sports Bar and Grill. Red Rooster is your neighborhood bar and grill serving the best wings, burgers, and baskets in the Met.
Like the amazing food, the bar is always on tap, and there's plenty of screens to watch the big game. Red Rooster is the Midland's premier meetup spot for local car and bike clubs, fraternities, and sororities.
Staff is dedicated to accommodating all kinds of parties and events. If you're looking to catch a game, have a bite, and a drink, look no further than the Red Rooster.
Red Rooster is located at 7500 Wilson Boulevard, Columbia, South Carolina. For more information, visit redroostersportsbar.com or visit them on Facebook and Instagram at Red Rooster Sports Bar. Go where the winners go.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Kil Ripkin.
Yes.
A native of Coney Island, Kil is a Charlotte-based MC, over 20 years in the underground hip-hop scene. Kil's music and a creative expression is heavily influenced by his spirituality. He's a member of the Moorish Science Temple, and his most recent project, Self-Medicate Volume 1, was released in July 2022, and he has features from artists such as Torre, Skyzoo, Ayoka, and Seji. Kil is also a high school basketball coach in South Charlotte in his homeschool, and is dedicated husband and father. How are you today?
Doing well.
Nice to finally meet you in person.
Same here. Peace to everybody.
Peace and blessings.
Yes.
Thank you for our time schedule. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. But could you give us a little bit of a background about your experience and tell us about yourself? Who influenced you and what influenced you growing up?
Musically?
Both.
Wow.
Musically, spiritually, physically, financially, whatever you got.
I was like anybody else growing up in New York. Hip hop caught me early, and I was influenced, heavily by hip hop. The way I dress, speak, the way I moved around in the street, everything was hip hop. And when I realized that I can be a part of that You know, I was one of the first ones in my neighborhood with like a drum machine. So I was like the go-to guy. I actually started off as a producer.
Okay.
Well, I always wrote. I was always an MC, but like I think I cut my name as a producer. I went under the name of Storm, Killer Storm at the time.
Hey.
So a lot of my early production was from, you know, under that name.
Okay.
And then I, you know, gradually worked my way back up into MCing. But influence-wise, I would just say hip-hop, man. I mean, you know, obviously the staples, Rakim, Slick Rick, Run DMC, you know, I'm from that era. What we call the golden era.
Yeah.
And so the golden age, right? So I was just influenced by just everything hip hop came with. And here we are.
Who was your favorite or top 5 or something? I need
that top 5 question.
Definitely Rakim, Slick Rick, KRS-One, Notorious B.I.G.
Yep.
Man, musically, I'm eclectic.
Okay.
I like all music, literally.
Okay.
I listen to everything. As a producer, as a music lover, I listen to everything. So I can say J.O. Felony from the West Coast. He's one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Like I have several top 5s, but my Hall of Fame is, you know, Rakim, Slick Rick, B.I.G. I would say KRS-One, and who else I can throw? Ice Cube. I like Ice Cube. Yeah.
Dope call.
If I go out to the West, I would say Cube
Dope call.
is the one.
I mean, he came over here to the East and got that Bomb Squad production.
You know,
It was like-
and it worked.
yeah, it did. It worked well.
You know, but yeah, people influence me. You know, people just observing, and you know, Virgos, right? So we observe and
Virgo's strong in the
every
house today.
episode. We hit them
and
strong.
we listen before we speak. And, you know, that's what shaped me. That's what nurtured me throughout the game. You know what I'm saying? And made Kil Ripkin, so to speak.
So you
Question.
started. Okay, go ahead.
Let's ask this real quick before we jump. Production wise,
Yes.
who influenced you production wise?
Wow.
Because
So
we don't get to ask this question.
that's a good question. So production wise, when I realized that I was producing, like, you know, it was a thing.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would have to say,
Because you can go anywhere. You could say Quincy Jones, you say Chuck Mangione, you could jump around. Its production is different than.
for production wise, that's a good question, man. I mean, I would have to really think hard. But if I say hip hop, if we just take hip hop,
Yeah, that's fine.
I would say Pete Rock, Primo was the first two that really was like, even before them, I would say Large Professor.
The sound of the technique.
The sound.
Got you.
Okay.
I wasn't really a technique person. I'm more of a sound. So like, you know, I would do all of the programming, but I wasn't into the engineering part.
Okay.
You know
Got
what I
you.
mean?
Yeah.
Where a lot of producers are.
Yeah.
You know, I would go to, you know, that's how I developed relationships with a lot of engineers throughout, you know, like Don Newkirk, Radicus, people like that who's been in the game for years. And I watched the engineering part from them, but I'm more sound. Like I can go to a keyboard and play out what I hear, you know, but I'm not a keyboard player.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm more sound guy like that.
Got you.
So, but you're going to have me thinking about that question. Like,
Yeah, because we never get to ask
the
that
full
question.
spectrum, you know, production, like
We've had one producer on
like
here.
the Soul Brothers. That,
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
they were dope. You know what I mean? We're talking about production teams. Hank Shockley and the Bomb Squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hitmakers.
Yeah.
You know, if you like Ice Cube, you gotta
like that.
gotta love that
Yeah.
production.
Gotcha.
They were ahead of their time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say them, but I'm gonna give that some thorough thought.
So now my question now is this, because you know this whole time I've known you, I didn't know you started out in production.
Yeah, so I started off, like I said, producing locally, right?
Okay.
And then I was fortunate that somebody from the neighborhood brought me Torre at a young age, right? And so I started producing Torre first. And those that don't know Torre, he's a recording artist. He's works for what do you call it? Rock the Bells Radio.
Yep.
He's the head of the New York chapter for the Grammy Awards. Like
Yep.
he's an
literal-
actor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's my little brother. We have a relationship beyond music. And I started off as like his producer mentor, and we grew into a brotherhood, and just, you know, here we are. You know what I mean? So I started off producing myself first and foremost. And then when I started branching off, it was guys like him. You know, I had guys like Nims in my neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
You know, a lot of local guys that, you know, but those are the two names from Coney Island that people recognize the most.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've been around all of those dudes in the studio. But me and Torre, you know, we had a group called the Coalescence in New York. We were like underground, probably one of the dopest underground groups at that time.
Yeah.
And then we went our ways, not me and him, so to speak. We had two other members with us, and it was some, you know. But Yeah.
Splitting camera.
Production wise, I cut my teeth first production wise. But everyone knew I could rhyme.
That's how I know you. I'm listening to your music.
But in the midst of all of that, I was still a big sports head. So I'm a basketball coach, but I'm really a football guy. I played 8 years semi-pro.
Kill, you be having 5 secrets.
I know. The most interesting man in the world.
Yeah. Football is my heart. You know,
what position?
Quarterback. Play quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not a running quarterback either.
So you were thinking quarter, you sat in that pocket.
So me and my son, we have this. I hope he knows it's a joke, but
Okay.
I have an issue. I don't have an issue. I do. I have an issue. I have an issue with the way black quarterbacks play today. Like they always want us to run first, which is why I have a running back, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm teaching kids, I'm teaching them the true aspect of quarterbacking, reading the defense.
Yeah.
It's other things that go with it than just running.
Yeah.
And so we get the accolades for running around, but I'm old school. You know?
Yeah.
If he could do it, you know, the WB, I could do it. You know what I mean? So,
command the field.
So I got into basketball because my son, he transitioned into basketball maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you know, I know the sport. I know the game.
You're from New York. Come on, how you not know basketball?
So exactly. I mean, I went to Abraham Lincoln, so I grew up with Stephon Marbury, Sebastian Telfair, Lance Stevenson. Those are all my little brothers. You know what I mean?
Oh, cool.
I grew up with all those dudes. Yeah.
Lord.
So I'm a sports head.
You a legend, basically.
I'm a sports fanatic.
Get an autograph.
Yeah, I'm
Get an autograph.
I'm the big brother. I'm the big brother to a lot. I'm the OG to a lot of. And, you know, I welcome that. You know, because I had those.
Yeah.
You can't do it without it.
I realized that is important, which is why I circle back to the youth. You know what I mean? Which I'm sure we'll touch on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a football head who's coaching basketball now. So when people be like I called my boy yesterday. He's in the hospital, so I went to call and check on him, and I was like, just wanted to hit you early because I got a game later tonight. He was like, a game? He thought I was still playing. I'm like, no, I told you I was coaching. In basketball season, I'm Kil Jackson, and in football season, I'm Kil Belichick. You know what I'm saying? So, but people are shocked that I'm into basketball because I breathe, eat
Football.
Yeah. Not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
You know, I've kind of outgrown the fandom and the fanatic part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a Cowboy fan. And
damn, I'm about to say.
And so, back in the day, I would tear my mom's house up if we lost. You know what I mean? I was one of those fans. And then when I went out on my own, I'll tear my own up. But I started realizing that it's bigger than the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't control what they do on the field. So I started curbing my enthusiasm a little bit. You know what I mean? Not as because I'm not out there throwing tackling.
Especially as a former player, you think,
it took a while for it to hit me like that. You know what I mean? Because when you're a fan, you caught up in it. The paraphernalia, the team spirit, all that stuff, you caught up in it.
Yeah, energy and everything.
So
I'm
now,
just learning.
my family's like, wait a minute, the Cowboys just lost. You all right? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really am. Where it's like 10, 15 years ago, it was
it wouldn't have been okay.
We lost on Sunday. Don't call me till Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
as a coach, I'm still learning that now. You want to be on the field with them playing, teaching them, but you can't. So it's like, you just got to hold your composure. You can't take it out on them either.
That's right.
So it's just all a learning experience.
Everything is a learning experience.
Did you see that one coach, the assistant lady that went out there and was playing with the kids?
I was just telling somebody. She
was throwing shots and everything. She's like 20.
I saw that 5 News.
Yeah.
I was like, that's something I would do, but I can't do that.
Your team needs that. They need you on the court.
I remember when I was, last year high school.
Yeah.
It's over.
Senior year.
And I was like, man, I wonder if I could come back one more year.
Just play.
You just want one last ride.
One chance out.
And I played a little bit of, I went to college to play ball, but that didn't work out, and that's what led me to semi-pro. You know what I mean? So, and I had a pretty good semi-pro career.
It had to be fun to still be able to get to play.
It was. Travel still. Make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And it was an experience. Everything is an experience.
And you learn from it.
I learned from it. You know what I mean? And even if I'm wrong, I'm not the type that'll be like, no, I learned from the good just as well as the bad.
Good. Yeah, that's something.
So that goes into our next question about creativity and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So creativity and spirituality are often intertwined in many ways. Creativity gives you a way to express your innermost thoughts and beliefs, but spirituality can help you find deeper meaning and purpose in your life and others' lives.
Right.
So if possible, could you share with us how you developed your spirituality and what influenced you?
Cool. That's a dope question because, like everyone, well, not everyone, but mostly everyone from my neighborhood that started off in hip hop, we went through the thug school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was no spirituality. It was like, but as a young kid growing up, I always knew something was different. So I always knew I was spiritual, just didn't know it was called spirituality.
Right.
But I wasn't a follower and I wasn't like, one of those guys that'll see you doing something and do it. If I did it, it's because I wanted to. It wasn't until I linked up with a couple of brothers from my neighborhood, Rebel X and Mighty Real. They were part of the boot camp, click camp.
Yeah.
And they were real. Kenyatta or Buckshot, he grew up in Coney Island with us also before he moved to Franklin Avenue, somewhere in that area. And so those guys were heavily influenced by the boot camp clique and things of that nature. So these two individuals I were producing for, and they was speaking a whole other language. They was talking stuff I never heard before outside of probably Rakim, maybe KRS-One, but at the time we're looking at them as something different.
Yeah.
Something we can't touch, something we can't like Rakim and KRS-One, they be way beyond me, right? So these were brothers that I could relate to and they looked like me and they were from the same building, same block. And I'm like, wait a minute, but they don't sound like me.
Right.
And these were over my beats. So I kind of fell in love with that. And then it led me to Long Island. I lived in Amityville for 2 years. I was fortunate to live in Amityville for 2 years because I developed strong relationships out there with really great brothers, right? And these brothers were recording artists. They actually worked with Prince Paul at the time. They were working on Prince Among Thieves. I don't know if you're familiar with that album. So pretty much all of those brothers on that album are my brothers, right? And so they invited me to a session at Don Newkirk's house. And they was like, yeah, we got a studio. You can come through. Whoop, whoop. And so I met Don. And when I met Don, he was already into the science and law and occultism and things like that. He introduced me to our sister Myrel, who passed on. She was heavily into spirituality, into law, into things that I never experienced in school or just in the neighborhood, right? And she was friends with people like Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine.
Shut the front door. So He's talking my language.
So I was fortunate enough, like I'm great friends with Bobby Hemmett. I was fortunate enough to be in rooms with Phil Valentine and C. Freeman L. So this is what led me into the science, So when I realized, everyone grew up with Public Enemy, right? And he was fighting the power. And, I'm from Brooklyn, but I just thought it was something beyond me. Yeah. And the people around me, they wasn't on it like that. They were street dudes, you know what I mean? So it wasn't until, my resume is so crazy, I don't really write. It's hard to remember a lot of this stuff. Like my relationship with 40 Acres and a Mule, Spike Lee's assistants, those were my best friends, right?
Yeah, the way you're talking,
so I was able to,
just like normal names to you.
Yeah, I was able to be fortunate enough to be in certain situations around certain people where I can develop certain relationships where I can connect people. Gotcha. So spiritually, I realized after Public Enemy, the gangster rap thing came in. Yeah. And so everybody totally went dark, right?
Right.
It wasn't until Dead Prez came back out or Dead Prez came out where I was like, wait a minute, we could still rap like this because it was in me. And so then I just took what I was learning spiritually and everything else and had Stick and M1 and influenced me that, we can say this on record again. Because after Public Enemy, no one was really doing that.
They
basically
like
went dark, right?
Yeah.
So Dead Prez showed me we could do it. So I joined. It wasn't necessarily because of them, but because they were a part of Impedom and the Uhuru movement, I joined because I was very active in my community, like F the Police and this was around the time of the Sean Bell incident. One of my best friends, his cousin was the Howard Beach incident. What's his name? Oh my God. Forgive me, Rashid.
I know the name.
Forgive me, brother. But all of this stuff, it'll come back to me. All of this stuff influenced me spiritually to like, because Virgos too, right? We're shy to an extent, right? I'm not going to go in the corner and be
get
like,
on a soapbox.
That's just not me.
Yeah.
But I found that I can go behind this mic and still be heard and seen. You know what I mean? So that's I just took all of my experiences. I'm from the era of 12, 14-hour lectures. So we would sit in front of Bobby and just, you know what I mean? Just absorb it all up. All of these great teachers. Are you familiar with Isaiah the Duke of Tears?
All of them.
That's my brother. We work together.
You messing with me right now. This is who I
like when he comes to Charlotte, he stays at my home.
Stop.
Yeah. So,
and my man can give you great readings.
Yeah.
You got to get a reading.
Yeah.
Look, this is like these.
Shout out to Asir and the whole Sultanate. You know
that
what
is
I mean?
crazy.
But, so I just been. I hate lucky.
Yeah.
Fortunate. You know what I mean? I've been fortunate to be around really great people. And then they look at me in the same way, in the same light. Where Virgos, we really humble. We like to give it. We don't like to.
No, you ain't lying.
Hey, you're the greatest. You're the greatest. We know we are.
Yeah.
We just don't want you all to say it.
All the accolades. Yeah.
So I just been really fortunate, man. Then through job, met people like Kev, and it just keeps growing, right? Mm-hmm. When you have good energy, and good energy follow you.
Yeah.
It's the same way if you have bad energy, that'll follow you. So
Preach.
Here we are,
man. Bruh, all right, you gotta ask. Okay, so, darn it. All right, I didn't know it was gonna get here. All right, so I with the knowledge that you have and understanding, so because you're talking occult, etc. You probably know Brother Panic.
Oh, it's another good friend of mine. When I go to Georgia, I'm at his crib.
Dope.
We're actually in talks of doing an album together. I keep you posted.
I know he said he was gonna start back doing.
Oh, he started back already. Yeah, I'll keep you posted on that.
Please do.
Shout out to Brother
Exclusive
Panic, man.
information.
Yeah. But just from because my Uncle Ronnie, this is his big thing. This is how I got into that whole understanding because he used to have the VHS tapes.
Yeah, man.
And I would try to sneak in there with my dad and be listening, getting them downloads. And getting the information. So from a young age,
yes, sir.
My mind was not where everybody else's mind was. I had no fear of certain things. That's why I was talking about I ain't fear of them little dogs.
That's right.
Because I ain't got no problems with energies. Like I know what it is. Like I know how to speak to them. I know how it's supposed to go.
You can manipulate them.
Say it.
Yeah.
I know how to set up an altar. I know how to pray to it, etc. I know about my water and my glass, my paint. I know all this stuff, right?
Yes, sir. Salute.
And I'm wondering, with that knowledge, how do you move? How we move so seamlessly through this world? Because you've had experiences, you've been around other people, and I'm telling you from watching Kevin talking to me, I didn't put two and two together that that's who you were. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come in here with that knowledge.
Right. Well, that's the answer to your question. I try to remain anonymous. I really do. I try to remain behind the scenes and come out only when I'm called to. That I feel that's the definition of duty. Where a soldier don't fight wars all the time. He only fight when he's called to.
Or front line. You ain't always in the front.
Exactly. So, I'm a very private person. I love my home. I love to be at home. I think that's my haven. I'm safe there for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Good points.
And I love my privacy. I love that, in the conscious community, they call it the mythos, right?
Yeah.
So I'm constantly working on my mythos so that when my story's told 50 years from now, it's truly that.
Yeah.
We're all superheroes. It's just a matter of how you writing that out.
Yeah.
So I think that's, for me, to answer that question, I try to remain anonymous. I don't try to be out front all the time and like, oh, look who I know and look what I've done and look who I am and how good my albums are or whatever. I don't try to do that. I just try to stay steady with who I am and the rest take care of itself.
And how do you also manage existing in the reality with knowledge of the actual existence? Do you? Because look, this is why I like when you said this, because this is what I deal with. This is what I deal all the time. I'm a sports head.
Yeah,
but I know it ain't all real.
It ain't real.
That's
so,
ain't that what I said? That's why I don't be watching.
My enthusiasm, right? But I work around youth, so I don't want to shatter their
dreams.
What they think it is too, right?
Yeah.
So then I come to understand too, right? The players, for the most part, they're playing the game.
Yeah.
It's the referees and the powers that be around them that's controlling and manipulating the outcome of the game.
Right.
They necessarily don't have anything to do with it. Right. They just
play extra actors in the game.
So that's a tough question to answer, right? Because we know we're not living in the realest times right now, but it's also the greatest time to be alive, if that makes sense, right? So we got to learn to sift through. So it's less of us, meaning light bodies, conscious light minds. It's less of us than them. So the scale is tipped a little bit, and we just got to find a way to maneuver around that, right? Now I have another brother that I can call possibly and build with.
Yep, exactly.
Because we can't just keep throwing things off at the same people, right?
You gotta build.
So now I get excited.
Yeah.
I didn't show it, But when you showed me you knew who I was talking about,
Yeah.
that did something to me because a lot of our people don't know who Asir is.
And I be thinking about myself.
A lot of people don't know who Bobby Hemming is. These are great individuals who have laid out the doctrine for us to move into this new eon, this new energy this new nature, right? Everything we're going through is led by nature.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
Your nature, your nature, my nature. We all have, but we all under the guise of the great mother nature, right? So we get winter, spring, summer, fall, and we got to adjust to each season.
Every time.
That's what I do.
Got you. That's a good way to put it.
It's that simple. It seems hard, right? Because it's so much evil, it's so much discord, it's so much fakeness.
Yeah.
I got, I work with this, I'm a program advisor for this nonprofit organization called Youth Development Initiative, YDI, right?
Yeah.
Today they had a graduation earlier this morning. So I went from there to here, and I was supposed to go to the next one. I'm like the brother that was here before me, right?
Yeah.
When you and some people think because you got a million things going on that you got, you got a million jobs. No, it's just today I just had a lot to do. Tomorrow, I don't plan on doing anything.
That's balance.
That's the balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I brought up the youth to say, in another group, I have like 5 young men, they got ankle bracelets on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And their energy when they walk in the room reflects that.
Yeah.
So, as an adult, as a man, as a light body, right? As someone who has knowledge of self and all those things, I got to find a way to
adjust that
and put that in them. Like, yo,
because if not,
why you come out the house with your hair like that?
Yeah.
I had an uncle. He couldn't stay out of jail, but he was always fresh. And he taught me how to be clean, clean.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't, even if I got to go to a store across the street, put on your best. You never know who's going to see you.
True.
So I carry that with me. I raise my children like that. And when I'm talking to the youth, I'm like, pull up your pants, bro.
Yeah.
You might run into somebody that want to sign you or give you a job or, you know what I mean? Anything, you never know.
Yeah.
But the energy, even with all I know, that their energy is hard for me to get through to because it's so heavy and dark and it's just me.
Yeah. You don't have any other bodies or like minds with you.
Especially on the job, right? Like, I'm definitely out of the
only
adults.
one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I try to communicate with them
On a different
differently,
level. Yeah.
No disrespect to any other religion. I don't call myself a religious person.
Yeah.
I call myself a spiritual person, right? But when you say you're a spiritual person, people think that you're saying you're religious.
Yeah.
Well, and I know spirit means breath.
Yes.
Holy breath, right?
Yes.
The more we in tune with our breath, the more at peace we are.
Always.
Right? The more we can connect with beautiful people. But like when you're angry or you anxious or you depressed, your breathing is off, right? That's it literally
I teach
is
yoga.
off.
I teach yoga.
So that dictates your spirit.
Yeah.
So when we talk about spirit and spirituality, we're talking about the holy breath.
Yeah.
And how we deal with how we breathe out certain situations.
Yeah.
You feel me? So it's hard, but I'm up for the challenge. And I know I got like-minded people that's
of course.
out here because
And ready to support.
one of the first things Bobby used to tell us when we were first learning is that this is a lonely journey.
Yeah.
Spirituality,
Yeah, it is.
being conscious, being a good person.
Yes.
It's a lonely journey because out of every one good person, there's 10 bad.
Yeah.
Probably 20 now.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Now the numbers
Double.
are different.
Yeah.
Because people actually think they're doing good out here.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Nah.
So that's another thing that we're up against that, you know what I mean? So I just been fortunate, man. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. You know what I mean? And
Man,
I just keep building.
Yeah.
I
I
just
can
keep building.
speak with you for hours.
Hours,
I'm not gonna lie.
hours, brother.
I tell people
Listen.
I speak with myself for hours about this.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, it's a lonely journey. It really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard to find people that you can have this conversation with. We can have a mundane on the surface conversation, right? But when you start to get deep,
Yep.
you know, that rabbit hole is
Never ending.
It's endless.
infinite.
Yeah.
And then for some folks, it drives them away. It's
Yeah.
like
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary for some, right? You know, I used to be scared of the dark growing up. But as you get into this, you realize I am darkness.
And you could be the light in any dark.
Yeah. the darkness is actually not bad. It's comforting.
Yeah.
It's confident.
It's all about how you see light.
I can't meditate if it's not dark enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just about to ask you about your spiritual practice, you know, like
Yeah,
what do you do?
I'm not heavy into yoga, which I love, but I counter that with Tai Chi.
Yeah.
I do meditation. I do guided meditations where it's, I hear the affirmations in my ear. Whatever we can do to keep building our light, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I have altars.
Yeah.
I do spirit work.
Yeah.
My team, I call it, my squad, we call Team Spirit.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Team spirit.
And we get it in.
Yeah.
Whatever you heard Bobby and them doing or talking about, we do.
Doing it.
You know what I mean?
That's so cool.
I do graveyard work. I get it. If I have to, I get it in, because I'm not afraid of all of that.
Could you speak to that, just so our listeners can understand it, because they're going to be wondering, like, what are they talking about? Could you speak to the point of doing the work?
Doing the work. So
Yeah.
we call it shadow work,
Yes.
right? The unseen work, right? So, I've had a difficult year, 2022 was a difficult year for me as far as loss, okay? I haven't lost anybody close to me since I was maybe 20, my grandmother, right? And back then I was young and angry. Yeah. So when she passed, I was more angry than mourning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Angry at my uncle, angry at this one, that one, because I lost her. All of that time passed, all my day one friends, thank God they're still here. My parents, my younger brother, everyone is still here. Yeah. So I haven't experienced loss to 2022. I lost 2 good friends to the prison system. One murder one, I'm never gonna see him again. Another one on some conspiracy crap. These are good brothers too, don't get me wrong. The brother with the murder, it got to him.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And we could put up this upfront noble image to people, right? But inside, you're hurting.
Yeah.
And this brother was hurting enough where he took a life. And I checked on him the day before that. Some people was telling me his spirit ain't right, so I wanted to lay eyes on him.
Yeah.
But he was him like a lot of brothers.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know, I got to do the knowledge on this. A lot of people around me,
When you're around.
So, you good? Yeah, I'm good. And they'll tell me exactly what my spirit wants to hear. And sometimes you can get caught out there, and I got caught out there.
Yeah.
He told me Thursday night he was good. Friday he committed murder.
But you felt something wasn't right.
When I saw him Thursday, I felt he was good. I just felt that he said he was going back to Virginia with his mom and his brother, get himself together. That's what I felt, like he needed to do that, not that he was about to snap.
Yeah.
And so I lost brothers to the prison system, and then I lost 2 good brothers, to the other side. Mainly my big bro and my mentor, Don Newkirk, who we just lost this past Thanksgiving. Rest in peace to Don and the whole family. So it has been a rough year for me to really understand what it is to lose somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the process of that.
While you're aware. You're
While
aware right now.
Because all the spiritual training and all the things you can know, it never still prepares you for death.
Nope.
Right? So I'm like, okay, I got to get into the death chamber now. Not just to overstand it more, because we all know we got to go,
Yeah.
but none of us want to go, especially before accomplishing what we're here to do, right?
Yeah.
And we never really know what that is,
That's the
Right.
fear.
and that's the fear.
It's like a level of understanding you got to
You know
tap
what I mean?
into.
It's not
So-
dying.
Yeah.
It's not
So
dying.
I kind of lost the question again. I was trying to bring it full circle.
No, you're answering it.
But last year was heavy on me, and so I had to really fall back and analyze myself. And thank God for brothers like Ja Freedom, who, musically really lit the fire under me to like, we need to hear you. Let's do this. For me, it's all about team and family for me, right? So I wasn't
Yeah.
going to do it if I didn't have a video guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was Kev.
Yeah.
A lot of, I put you to task. If you say you're a real brother, then I need to see. If you say you're a real sister, then let's do it. Because I tell people I'm the realest brother you're going to meet.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
You can count on me.
Yeah.
You can count on me. If I can't do it, I know someone who can.
That's it.
Exactly. There you go.
And that's all
There
we
you
could
go.
do as people, right?
Yeah.
If you call me, Kil, if I got it, you got it. But if I don't, I'm going to make that
Find
call
it.
to make sure somebody else can answer your question and help you out. So, I'm big on that. And yeah, I'm just now starting to get my feet back and like, you know what I mean? Like, okay,
Feel like yourself.
feel like myself again, because last year was pretty tough. And on top of that, my queen, she been dealing with vertigo for the last 3 years. and she's a Virgo.
Oh wow,
You know what I mean?
that's
So it's like,
crazy.
And Vertigo don't play.
yo, man, it's
I was
really
dealing
been
with
kicking
Ammo.
her. So it's been a lifestyle adjustment, you know,
Yeah.
because you know what it's like when you one with somebody and then y'all here
Yeah.
because one or the other got to deal with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, Kev, Ja, Scott, you know, my whole team, you know, they've been
Supportive.
beyond supportive. You know what I mean? There's one thing to support, but I can't even think of the word, but they just been there. There that you know that you can get back on your feet and move forward. You know what I mean? Like I don't get down on myself too easy. But if I need a moment, I take a moment. And that's what I tell people. It's okay to take a moment. You know what I mean? It's okay to take a moment. You're not
The strength and vulnerability.
Yeah.
you your head ain't right, take a moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
the side.
come back at it. But spirituality is definitely everything to me, right? Because it keeps everything lined up in a righteous manner. And you know, everything I did wasn't always righteous coming up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm fortunate enough to still be here and still correct those wrongs and give back. And like I said, even when I was doing those wrongs, I knew I was a good person.
Yeah.
I was
You know
about
what
to
I'm
ask
saying?
if those
At
wrongs
heart,
help lead you
Oh
in the
yeah,
right direction.
yeah. I mean, I've been around some serious people, you know what I mean, and so I learned, you know, I learned how to move in these streets. I can go to any neighborhood, any hood,
Good.
and be good.
Yeah.
You know, because I know how to relate to, even if I don't know them, I know how to relate. I know the language. I'm not coming here to step on toes,
True.
take your money,
True.
any of that stuff, right? It's just we building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything is building. God, you know, generator, operator, destroyer. That's what we
Never thought
do.
about that.
Yeah.
Man, you speak the language.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm trying to tell you, man. That made my day.
But I had a feeling, man. But I had a feeling this was going to be a very awesome interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like I said, of course, that's all, me and you talk all
Yeah,
the
we
time.
talk all the time.
So-
Yeah. That's my older
I didn't
brother.
mean to cut you, but me and Kev, we never really got to go that deep, so I didn't
Yeah.
even know. So
Yeah.
when you said you knew who I was talking about,
Yeah.
I was like, ooh,
That's what we were raised
Yeah,
up.
well,
my brother.
yeah. We've always had, and I always tell people this, and we always talk about this to other people. It's like we have a code about ourselves when we work with like-minded people.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Lynx Recording Studio.
Lynx is a premier audio and video recording studio in the greater Charleston area with 4 completely different booths, multiple peripherals, and 4 producers. They have the ability to service all facets of audio and video creativity.
If you need to record a song, a podcast, create a demo, or even take headshots and complete drops for Hollywood film, they've done it.
Call them at 843-879-9386 or find them online at lynxrecordingstudios.com. That's Lynx, Lynx, recordingstudios.com.
Like, I know, like, with the discussions we had about some things, like with things you had going on, that's why it was so easy when you told me what was up that time. I was like, all right. So you see, I ain't say nothing about it because it's just the way we wrote. It's just a code about things.
But again, that's what I needed. You didn't know that, but
Yeah,
I
it's
needed
true.
you to be understanding.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't really know each other like that at the time, right? But that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And you were built like that. So to me, that
That's a good
leads.
point. If
That's
you
a
were
bridge
built
to
like
the
that.
brotherhood.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm big on brotherhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm really, really big on that because I was raised in a team environment, right? I was always on a team.
Yep.
Football raised me, so I was able to learn how to relate to brothers and
Yeah.
how we did things together. And if it wasn't together, we took a L.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally.
So I took that into the streets, I took that into the studio, and I took that into my home.
That goes right into our next topic, bridging the gap. So in the Black community, we often hear about integrational gaps and their impact on open communication, mutual respect, and especially when discussing the hip hop culture. So as a coach, you have the opportunity to work with the younger generation in both athletic and personal setting
That's right.
on problem solving and things like that. How has your experience being a coach, especially coaching your own son, affected the way you connect with the younger generation?
Man, everything. Because these kids are hungry for knowledge, direction, even the ones with parents, right? Because we're in a generation now where the youth don't talk to their parents.
Right.
Right? I would lay in my mother's bed and we would talk for hours.
Yeah.
And I would tell her everything up to the dirt.
Yeah.
But she would get a lot.
Yeah,
She would
she get
give
a
me a
lot.
lot. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That era is gone.
Yeah.
You know, that era is gone. So it means a lot, right? So when I'm connecting with the youth, I'm always trying to project my experience on them without exposing them to the negativity, right?
Yeah.
So as far as like, you know, I always let them know I care. And I really do. Because, and I don't know what my affection to the youth is, right? Because I'm a dad. I have my own children to raise, right? Yeah. But I pretty much, you know, my mom was present. My dad wasn't, right? My dad is alive and we're well now. He was, I could be candid. My dad went away for 20 years, so I didn't know him growing up. Yeah. So it was just me, my mom, and my brother, right? And so I was forced pretty much to raise myself and learn things on my own. And then at some point, you know, mom, she had her own issues. She cut the lights out, so to speak. So it was like, I really had to ante up on that. You know what I mean? So for me, it's all about the experience. I can actually sit a young man down and tell him, look, like I had a young dude tell me the other day, he had an ankle bracelet on. And this is where the youth is at. He said, I would rather go to jail than have this ankle bracelet on.
What?
Yeah, they'd rather be in a cage than be out.
Bruh, how do we answer that?
Yeah.
How did you answer that?
I said, are you crazy?
Yeah.
And then I said, have you ever been to jail?
Right.
Yeah. Right? It's one thing to say that, but have you ever been?
Experience.
I don't care if it's for a day. Yeah. I don't wish my worst enemy on to go in that place.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
My worst enemy.
Yeah.
I'd rather us get it on.
Right then. Yeah, hands.
You know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But none of us go in there.
Yep.
You feel me? So I just try to guide them through experience and let them know I care. Because I see a lot of people in these nonprofit organizations, they just want the money.
Right.
They're really not making an impact.
Yeah, taking the grant money.
When I first moved to Charlotte, I was actually teaching in the schools, right, as a substitute. Wanted to get my feet wet because it was damn near impossible to become a teacher in New York. Just like everything else, right?
Yeah.
So when I came here, it was seamless. You know, do this, do that, boom.
Yeah.
And I was in. And it was a beautiful experience, but it was an ugly experience. I found the young ladies were worse than the men. You know what I mean? Like their language,
they'll mess you up.
Their sexuality. It's like these girls are 10, 12, 11 years old. They talking about oral and everything, right? Yeah. So that was the reason why I pulled out and created a homeschool co-op and raised all my children in homeschool.
How hard was it to do that?
It was super easy. Anybody interested in doing that, they could holler at me or just look it up. It's really easy here in North Carolina and in South Carolina. Do it now before that window closed. But it's really easy. And we were fortunate to find a homeschool basketball team that competed on a very high school level. Like, actually, I'm missing a game today. They out in Oak Hill. They playing Oak Hill Academy, if you know anything.
Real talk?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Real talk? Where they playing them at?
In Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's big time.
So,
you know that.
You know, I had to work this morning and I, committed to Kevin. And
we
I had another one after this that, But I appreciate y'all, brother, because anytime like I said, I'm seldom seen.
Yeah, you're right.
Rarely heard. So anytime I get to come out and do this, I really, really enjoy it because I do have a lot to say. Like my whole team is like, I'm not out enough. But I think that's what builds my mythos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to that.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
I didn't know who he was.
Exactly.
Now I'm like, all right, I know. I met him.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Right?
He been beating me on the head about
it.
And
then people take the name and it's like, like a lot of, I brought a lot of individuals to Charlotte that people love for events that just I know through relationships. We never did music together probably, never made money together probably. It's just a respect. Oh, Kil, word, all right, boom.
Oh, come down. Boom.
So
and just to get back to what we were saying with connecting to the younger generations, I want to bring this point up and I want you to tell me if this sounds valid. From research and reading that I've been doing, it seems like a lot of the younger generation, both male and female, they have a very strong warrior energy that is misguided.
So I was about to say that. They have that strong warrior spirit, but they don't know how to use it.
That's why the boy would rather go to jail.
That's why he'd rather go to jail. That's why my brother rather took a life than dealt with his situation when he had a strong team around him, right? But they say in the Circle 7 that man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Oh,
right? So, I could look at you and you look well, and you speak well, but inside you could be going through some crazy shit that I have no idea about unless you be upfront and tell me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I started this, I don't want to call it a podcast, but I started just this gathering of men, right? Well, I call it the check-in. Because, after I lost my brothers last year, I found out that, we wasn't checking on each other enough. You know what I mean? Like,
good point.
Kev, what's good, man? You good? I don't want, this ain't a video call. This ain't Hilltop. You good? How's the wife?
No business. Exactly.
How's the children doing?
Yeah.
Because what I've found out since the pandemic, men and women, our brothers, they going through it.
Yeah.
They going through
Silently.
it. And so it's important for me that I love when brothers have a woman. I just do. Because I feel like you are as strong as the women in your life, a man, right? I was always told that, right? Your mama, your aunt, your girl, your children, your daughters rather, right? If they good, you good. You 10 times that because they're nurturers.
True.
They're lovers by, it's in their nature to do what they do. And when they do it well, that makes us strong. You know what I mean? So, I'm big on that. I'm big on that. If I meet a brother and he don't got a girl and he's our age, I'm looking at him like a little side eye, like, what's going on?
What's going on?
You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to be alone today. I ain't buying that. Because when you home alone, you know what I mean? We all need some human connection right now, especially now, right? We living in a time.
It's not good for your psyche.
It's not good for your psyche because we living in a quickening time.
Yeah,
right? The days are going by like this. So in that quickening, we have to have human experiences. Conversation, touch, intimacy, whatever it is, right? We need that. And so if you're not doing that, you're just going through work and video games and
your soul is slowly leaking away.
It's becoming calcified, right? So we're dealing with a lot of calcified hearts, pineal glands, a lot of calcified minds, souls.
Do you think the youth is having a battle with that?
Well, like I said, right, this is the greatest time to be alive. So the good thing about the youth today with that warrior spirit is that they're on the cusp of greatness.
They aren't afraid.
They're on the cusp of greatness. They need you. They need more of you. They need more of me. They need more of you, Kev. They need more of that brother that just left. Right? They need more of us to not just be about what we about and really give back. Like, so I had OGs, right? But they taught me different. It wasn't until I got into conscious people where I learned. But the OGs taught me some, I know how to move in the street. I knew how, to speak when spoken to. Street smart, right? That's what they call it, right? And like I said, my uncle, he was just, as far as like the hygiene and the
care.
I learned that from him. You know what I mean? So people see me, they be like, hey, I love to look good. I love to dress. That's the Virgo in us, right? We just love to
present ourselves in a positive way.
Now, I don't want all eyes on me, right?
But I'm gonna look.
Right? I know I look good, feel good, and like Dion said, you're gonna play good, right? So
true.
That it's simple, but
that's why I think it's so difficult. And that's why I think a lot with bridging this gap with the youth, what makes it complicated for them is that it's not complicated.
Right.
They expect it to have some kind of extreme technicality to it. And when I sit down with a lot of youth or they come and speak with me, even the folk that I work with as I mentor them, because I'm moving into a management position now, it's kind of interesting because I'm like, I'm not like really grown yet. I'm still like trying to learn. I'm trying to pick up stuff.
Facts.
I remember my brother telling me this before, because I asked him about this, like when he turned 35, I said, so people see you as a grown person? Because it's me as a little brother. I'm asking my older brother, like, people see you as a grown person yet? He's like, bro, nah,
never.
I ain't grown yet. He said, I'm still working at it.
That's right.
So getting to this age and getting into this position, when I talk to a lot of youth, their thing is, well, why is it more difficult? Why is it, the simplicity of it is what they can't seem to grasp. It makes it hard. So I'm trying to find a way to explain to the youth that I deal with a lot of times that the thing is simple and that you can grasp it. It doesn't have to be extremely complicated. And it's because like a lot of youth now, they grow with technology. It's here. And technology, unlike the old analog technology, and we don't think about this a lot, but bridging the gap, the analog technology, it was technical, it was difficult, but because of that, it made it feel simple. I don't know how you explain it like that, but it made it feel simple. This, to me, this is simple, but it's also technical. It's very skill related in order to use technology.
Very distracted.
Very distraction, yes.
I think sometimes with technology, and this is just what I gather, just like with my background working with youth.
Yes.
The issue a lot of times is this. People feel like there's always going to be an exception to the rule. And technology helps to create that idea. So But like years ago, if you couldn't do something with the resources that you had, you knew it couldn't be done. You just accept not that you had a defeatist mindset. You just accepted that's just one of those laws. This is something that just can't be done.
You have to get the resources.
Right? Nowadays, you got to think about it. You're dealing with groups of people who there's an app for that. If I can't write something, guess what? There's an app that
microwave,
right, and do that. Right. There's also anything that someone that's coming from a wisdom standpoint is going to share with them or disseminate to them, especially if it's things with life or things that they might have dealt with prior to their existence. They're always going to look at themselves as an exception to the rule.
That's right.
That's the way they've been conditioned.
That's right.
So it feels complicated because it's not an app. You have to actually work through it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
They don't want to apply
The problem solving?
not just the
They
problem
don't have
solving.
the skill. Don't have the things there.
Yeah, they don't want
be
to.
there.
It's like having a book. How can I put it? It's like me going out here trying to build a bookshelf, right? Normally, if somebody wants to know how to do something, they don't know how to do it. They'll either go and find a book or some type of resource on how to do it, right? Even with YouTube is a great example of that.
Right.
But for youth, even though those resources exist, they're still going to want to just wing it and just build it just off of their intuition.
You ain't lying because it's not yet.
With no instructions or outsourcing?
They don't even need instructions.
Don't need it.
No.
Well, see, because today we're such in the microwave era, right? Is that, and I'm gonna be real. I'm a realist, right? Yeah. We didn't have teachers growing up either, right? We didn't have so it's like the youth today is like, who are you to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they don't understand that there was a group of us that went through that spiritual training under these great master teachers, right? But they're not aware of that. So for me to try to get to someone to sit down and watch a seer video on YouTube.
Like, for what?
They like, for what? I know it all. And what he gonna tell me?
Yes.
What he doing?
Yeah.
And this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Where, it's just different. We literally sat in a building.
Explain this. Look, this is another thing.
For 12,
The ability to stay
14
focused.
hours and focus and retain all
Take
of the
notes.
knowledge that 10, 20 years later I could still utilize in my
And it's
life.
still in your brain.
Whereas
A lot of
today,
it's ahead of time. It was ahead
whereas
of the
today,
time.
if I'm trying to really have this type of conversation with a
Your
young man,
attention span is just shot. I don't even know how to
So we're actually
basketball. Your team.
I don't
it's
even know
crazy.
how to
And
adjust.
so we could have a whole other conversation on the youth and the delusion of I'm D1 or I'm really good.
Yeah.
And then the parents see because so what I find today, I don't want to put everything on the youth, right? Because we are in the era of the indigo or what they call the children, right? So these kids are coming here
Sharp.
and they're like, oh, y'all don't have things in order, right? Because
Yeah.
everything is balanced in order, right?
Yeah.
We don't have things in order yet. The empire is not back yet because, this is
Coming. Their souls are coming back.
they're coming back and they want results now. Like, you mean to tell me y'all still doing
We're
slavery
lazy.
movies?
Yeah, say it. Yeah.
You mean to tell me police is still shooting and beating
and
up
y'all ain't doing nothing about it?
and we not doing nothing about it?
Yes.
You mean to
You ain't
tell me
stand up
that
to injustice?
y'all still going to McDonald's?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
So
I agree.
to the youth's defense, it's not necessarily they're angry at us. It's that, because we all, and that's another, but I'm talking about.
know what you're talking about.
We chose. You chose that brother.
Yep.
You chose
That's
those
my-
parents,
yep,
right?
exactly.
You chose this experience.
Right.
Yeah.
To tell someone that now, they're looking at you like, this nigga don't know what he talking
Right,
about.
right.
He crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, he one of them spookism dudes,
Say it.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the realest thing, right? The realest thing is knowing. And then with that know, you have the wisdom to carry out your life in a way that is going to be peaceful and loving instead of disruptive and, chaotic, right? Because us being melanated, carbonated beings, melanin is chaos.
Yes, it is.
So nobody knows how to act niggerish more than we
us.
do.
We
Right.
really good at it.
Oh, we could show you how to do the nigger
Right.
thing, right?
Yes.
So the youth seeing this,
Yeah.
they're like, look at these hypocrites.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so, you'll see a spiritual guy and he rolling up.
Yep.
How you spiritual? You smoking? Because they don't get it.
They don't get it. Yeah.
They don't get what it is to judge someone than to just let that person be that person, right?
Yep. Let them have
You
their
know,
experience the way they have their experience.
I haven't eaten meat in 20 years, 22 years. I haven't eaten no meat. right? But I won't judge you guys if you. And matter of fact, I'm gonna enjoy the smell of those buffalo wings. Or,
Yeah, I'm gonna smell them.
You know what I mean? Because that's your reality. Who am I to trip up your reality? Right? Because I'm sure out of all of the differences we have, we're going to meet on a common ground, and that's going to be the salvation of that relationship.
The salvation of the soul.
The same with a relationship with a man and a woman. What keeps y'all together is the acceptance of that man, that woman. They're going to constantly change. Are you willing to accept that change and roll with it?
Big talk.
Sometimes that man will change and the woman want him to be the same nigga. And he no, I'm changing it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to evolve and grow. And so back to the youth, it's that, right? That's number one, what I just spoke about. And then it's the parents. You know what I mean? The parents are as ignorant as the children.
Yeah.
Right?
My Lord.
They don't want to adapt and adjust.
My son is, man, he on the square big time, right? And he used to always tell me, 5, 6 years old, he used to be like, I'm the daddy, you the son. Yeah. But in reality, he's right.
Yeah, he's teaching you.
He's teaching me.
Yeah.
How to teach him.
Yeah. Yep. This is what people don't get with their children. Yep.
I'm the daddy, you the son. And I was like, oh, when he first said it, I was like, eh. But then me being from the school of Bobby Phil and all these greats, right? Yeah. I was like, yeah, he's right. Because, and this is the thing that, especially in my program, that I see with the youth, they're like, my parents, I was so happy today to see parents at the graduation, 2 parents too. I was happy about that. We had a little ceremony this morning for the graduate, students that was leaving the program. Yeah, awesome. It was like 4 of them. And they all had mother and father there, except one, the Latino girl. And I think she said her father was working or something like that. But that made me feel good, right? But at the same time, that used to be something to hang your hat on back in the day. Or I'm from a 2-family home. Yeah. Now that's almost worse because now everything is just so in your face, right? You're dealing with your daddy shit, your mama, then theirs together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you in the house and you seeing them, they in the house, but they 2 different lifestyles. That all wears on the kids. So how do we, as outside of that home and mentors, reel them into like, yo, this is really about you. So that's what I tell them. It's not about your parents. Yeah. This is really about you, right? Take your parents' struggles or, the good they do and make it about you.
And learn from it.
Yeah. So my dad, my uncle, my first OG did 30 years. I never, I got arrested, but I was never on some, I'm going to be a jail nigga. Yeah. I was a street smart dude for real. Like I don't find it cool you go to jail. The real ones stay out of it. Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, if you go to jail, you messed up.
The real ones stay out of it. And trust me, there's a lot of criminals out here who never seen jail. I'm talking about big criminals because they know how to move. It's the facade of you have to go to jail, make it known, come home and do it again. It's ignorance.
Yeah.
So we're up against what we didn't have, right? Because I tell people, all right, you can't really get, I embrace my dad, right? Because I'm like, well, shit, man, he was young too. You know what I mean? He had to learn as he was being a dad too.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's still, yes, well, he shouldn't have did the act, right? She shouldn't have never got your mother pregnant. That's a higher calling. That's a higher activity, right? That's something that happened greater than us that we can't even outside of us. Like, I was supposed to get here September 20th. That's what it's all about. Call. Yeah. It could have been from a crackhead. It could have been from the president of the United States. I had to get here.
Yeah, you're supposed to be here.
Wouldn't matter.
And so this is what I'm trying to tell the youth. It's about you, right? I had a mother, when I coached flag football, her son was my quarterback. In the first game, he threw 5 touchdown passes. I'm like, oh, I got one. My son was like all-world wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
He chose to play basketball, but he's really good at wide receiver also, right? But so I'm like, oh, I got one. So the next 2-3 games, this dude was throwing like 4 or 5 interceptions a game. But every game he would come to me, coach, can I run the ball? I'm like, boy, you're a running back. What you want to run the ball for? Oh, I got it. So one day his mother came to me and literally cursed me out. And so I peep the parents and the children and I weigh it. Yeah. And I'm like, a lot of what's wrong with our youth is these parents enabling them to get an acceptance award. Like, you got first place, second place, third place, and let's just give Kevin the award because he participated.
Yeah.
The minute they started doing that, it was a wrap. Because now these parents could be like, oh, Billy, he participated. He's a champion too. So what does that do to the kid that actually won?
And put the work in.
Yeah. You feel me? So I blame the parents. And you know what I told that woman? Calm as the sun rising. I was like, miss, you and your son, bye. Don't bring him back here. Don't bring him back to my practice. This was my starting quarterback. I replaced him with like this 4-foot guy and led us all the way to the championship. You feel me? Because they only know, even as adults, we only know what we're told.
That's true. Yeah.
We only know what we're told. And then we do the knowledge.
Yeah.
And then you know some things on your own too, right? But if I'm putting you on to something, that's just what it is. If you putting me on to something, that's just what it is. And then I do the knowledge. I'll be like, okay, that works for me. Or it might not work for me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's the hardest task. It's harder than raising my own. Because they're somebody else's and they come from somebody else's ideology. They come from somebody else's upbringing and how they do things, you know what I mean? So it's like...
And you have to work through that.
But I love it when when I was in the schools, I had the girls... It was funny, like they would write me love letters. Oh, Mr. L, I love you. Can you marry my mom? And things like that. Yeah, because they yearning for that.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it as this opportunity to get my dog on. I took that as an opportunity to like understand where these youth, first of all, they are hurting. They're in pain.
And they're yearning, like you said.
And they're yearning. They're yearning for what? Love first and foremost.
Attention.
And to know that they can love themselves. A lot of them don't. A lot of people today don't love themselves.
And appreciation. They want to.
Right.
And they aren't giving.
So they feel like taking a beating.
And
is them showing love. Like if I let you shit all over me, I'm showing you
love.
I love you. No, that's not love.
Opposite,
That's not love. You know. So this is a lot what the youth is going through, and so I take baby steps. I'm not one of those teachers like I'm over them because they don't want that either.
Yeah.
So I try to fit in.
So
they call me the hip one,
Yeah.
which I am. I still think I am, right? But I also know how, just like with coaching, right? You got to individually coach your players and then bring it together as a team, right? If you got a player, we got a player on our team that's autistic. He's 6'8". He's a pretty good player, but the coach don't know how to deal with his autism. You know what I'm saying? And the parents is trying to tell him how to, but it hasn't registered that. So because of that, this kid doesn't get a lot of playing time because that coach doesn't understand that player in essence of the whole team. So that's my strengths. That's how I'm able to coach basketball. I'm a football guy, but I'm able to coach basketball because I know how to relate to individuals. Oh, you can rebound? Then be the best damn rebounder you can. Don't try to give me 20 points.
Right.
Oh,
position yourself, get the ball.
You good on defense? I'm gonna need you to dog like how the brother said. Guard him full court all the way up.
Yeah.
You got to know who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? You got to know who you're dealing with. I'm going to deal with you differently than your brother. I can't treat y'all the same because y'all brothers.
That's true.
I got to treat you differently than Kev.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
What current projects do you have coming up?
We're still riding the beautiful wave of Self-Medicate 1, but we are in the lab working on Volume 2, which will be incredible. And I say that because I'm more motivated. You know, when I was doing 1, I was going through it.
Stuff,
And that was my salvation, though. So I would have those moments where I can create and be happy. And I'm not a person that will say I'm depressed. I deal with depression. I just have my moments where, you know, as a introvert and a loner anyway, it's easy for me to go in a shell and just chill.
Chill,
You know what I mean? So we got Self-Medicate Volume 2 coming. I have another project that I'm doing with a producer out of Atlanta who's a longtime collaborator of mine. He was actually my engineer back in the 90s, and he's producing. And so we have a project out coming called The Artisan Cool. We'll be dropping hopefully by the summer. And then I have a lot of, I love to work with all the local dope artists in Charlotte, right? So I got DJ Wiz, I got Phil's, I got Divine Universal, Scott, whenever he give me beats, if he ever decide to, slip me one, But I definitely try to, because this is where I live, right? So you wanna build here and then take it further. I'm New York thick and thin, right? I'm Coney Island to the end, but this has been my home for the last 15, 16 years. So I gotta pay homage, you know what I'm saying? I gotta let them know, like, I've grown here. Like, actually, the stuff that I've accomplished here in Charlotte, I would have never got done in New York. Me becoming a Grand Sheik within the Moorish Science Temple of America, I would have never done that in New York. Because I wouldn't have been in the mindset. Charlotte has allowed me to slow it down.
Yep. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, you slow
and
down.
see my greatness.
Yeah.
You know, see my greatness. See, all right, I can turn left, turn right, do this and that. And then, of course, everything works smoother and better when you have good people around you. There would be no self-medicate one. There'd be no Kil Ripkin songs that y'all hear if it wasn't for Scott or brothers like Divine that allow me. Now I have an in-home studio that I do pre-production, but when I want to put that finishing polish, I gotta come to the masters.
Yeah.
But without those relationships, I can't do that. I remember when I first moved to Charlotte and I'm running around looking for a studio. Somebody told me about a studio. I said, yeah, go ahead off Tryon. I was in the hood.
I really told me this story.
Oh man. And I'm in the studio. I'm in these dudes' house and I'm from New York, so I'm not too on trap, that word trap.
Yeah.
I was literally in a trap house.
You was just in there, one door in, one door
just
out.
waiting for my session time. And then I'm like, wait a minute, bro. You've been in Don Newkirk's with the Rockwallers. Like, I've been in sessions with Karen Wheeler. I mean, you name it. I've been in. I was like, what the hell are you doing here? And I just got up and left. You know what I'm saying? But, that's just me. It wasn't that I was scared. It's just like, I don't record in this environment. Now, they were having the time of their life. Tank top, shirts was off. You know how they do it?
Getting it.
And I'm like, nah, and I ain't know nobody. So,
of course.
I'm new to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then, I know people, phone calls, and that's how I got up with the brother Superstition. Superstition alley-ooped me to Charles Heron, and the rest is history. Here in Charlotte, you know what I mean? And then shortly after that, I met Joffrey in that same order. Then I met the brother DJ, the Mighty DR. Yeah. Great men, great people, you know what I'm saying? Which has allowed me to still be the Kil that I was in New York here, but on a higher level. New York, man, as much as I love it, the energy there is, I tell people, get up out of there.
It's frantic.
Yeah.
Get up out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some people, I used to be one of those people. I'm never leaving New York. I'm a Brooklyn nigga to the end. And we came down here for one of my friends' weddings, a wedding that I grew up with. And she was like, we were pregnant with my son at the time. She was like, yeah, we'll be here next August. I was like, yeah, right. I'm never leaving New York. We was here next.
It breaks everybody. We gonna hear you safe and extend the time.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Where can people find you on social media, stay in contact?
Sure. Kil Ripkin at Instagram, Facebook. Be on the lookout for my new YouTube page, which will be featuring my installments of the check-in, where I have these bills with men, and we get deeper than where we went today, right?
Yeah.
So, and I feel like I'm sure there's other platforms like that, but I'm not aware of one here.
Right.
And here in Charlotte, in the QC, we need to check as far as out to Columbia, right? We need to check up on our brothers.
Yeah, definitely.
So that'll be on YouTube. Find me where you can.
Yeah.
I'm around some dark corner. I'm around there. I'm around some dark corner. But again, man, I wanna shout out you brothers and sisters, right? Sister. Yeah. This is dope what y'all doing. We need as many platforms for us to land on as possible, right?
Yeah.
So that now the youth can hear this.
Yeah.
And then we got to figure out a way to get them to hear these dope episodes.
Yeah.
They need to hear the brother Reason Brown, right?
They need to hear that.
They need to hear that. Because a lot of people from Charlotte, they don't mess with Gastonia.
I've heard.
Gastonia, oh man, it's like the wasteland.
That's what my wife said.
That's like Brooklyn. That's like Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens, and Staten Island. People say, go to the Bronx. No disrespect to the Bronx, but y'all know what it is.
They know what it is. Yeah, it's real.
The Bronx is the Bronx.
Yeah,
they stand alone. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's a thorough borough. And, but it's just, just like Gas House is thorough, right?
Yeah.
It's just, but people here don't see that, so we need to bridge that gap, close that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it happen because this is a powerful platform.
Yeah.
True.
Our movement, especially going into our next season, is we're definitely starting to realize, at least recognize, like the power that we're having with connecting different people.
It's amazing.
Especially complete strangers, and even just think about age. Cause I definitely want us to move in a direction where we're bringing on some younger people too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And letting them talk and letting, kind of really just bridging that gap.
Definitely.
So it's like, not only will we have someone like yourself here, but we have somebody that, we have a 15-year-old, we have 6,
a lot of them I mentor. I can alley-ooping to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
My next installment of the check-in is going to be the Young G's.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to see, you know, where they at mentally.
Where their mind is.
Where they at.
Because if you don't know if you don't ask.
Yeah, you know, where you at mentally.
Yeah.
Since 2020, since the pandemic, everyone has shifted.
Oh, yeah. Pole shift time.
The poles have shifted.
Yep. People have shifted.
Inside, we have shifted, right?
Yeah.
They say if you turn us inside out, we are a universe. Well, the universe has shifted. So you know we have.
As above, so below. You got to keep it
You
rolling.
know we have. Everything about us have, for the good or bad, right? So if you were elevating prior to that, then you...
Come on. You come back down.
Well, no, you
should keep
accelerate.
moving. Yeah, you should accelerate the movement.
If you were going on a downward spiral before the pandemic, then you pretty much
You know
still
what
going
reminds me
there.
of? This is off topic a little bit, but this man, Shannon Sharp, he always says this, and this is funny. He's like, money is one of those things that only exacerbates
Who you really are. Yeah. And I know that from experience. You know, I'm sure we all do.
Yeah.
We meet somebody that win Lotto tomorrow, they're gonna act a fool.
Yeah.
Somebody we know that we thought was all, you know, cool, and you get that money, right? Because our people are not used to having what we call money.
Yeah.
And see, what's gonna get scary is that money is gonna become something else, and we're gonna have to adapt to that.
Change to it,
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
the reason why I said that, because we were talking about that energy change. One of those energy changes
It's the currency,
Yeah.
right? Currency is energy, right? When we exchange money, we exchange an energy. That's why I tell people, you know, don't get it confused where if I call you for help, that you think I'm calling you for money.
Yeah.
It's a difference. I need help, bruh. I'm not asking you, yo, let me borrow some money because, you know, I'm just short.
Yeah.
I need help. That's a big difference. Some people just need extra paper in their pocket. So, yo, let me get extra $20. I need gas money.
Yeah.
You know, that's not really, I'm talking about help. I need food. They're about to cut my lights off.
Yeah.
My car just died. Help.
Yeah.
And then
different.
you be there for that person. So that's part of the check-in too. So maybe we can Cuba link all of this together.
True.
And make an empire, especially with the brother Reese.
Yeah.
I know you've been telling me to connect with him for the longest.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna reach out to him on the IG
Most definitely.
and make something happen because me and Jock could perform up there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, most definitely.
I
It
mean,
all
we got
makes
the whole
sense.
crew. We can bring the whole Charlotte crew up there and make something happen. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's building time, right? Like I said,
Certainly.
it's a very dark time. Let's not, you know, underestimate that. We're living in a very, very dark time, but it's also the greatest time to be alive. And what I mean by that is that anything you're trying to do, anything you're striving to be, it can happen.
Now.
You know what I mean? Whatever you're trying to manifest, you can manifest that quicker than ever now, right? So for me, I had to remind myself that, like, where you from? What's your train of thought? You know what I mean?
You a god.
Tap back into that, to that
Godlike experience.
that magic.
Yeah.
I like to use the word magic. A lot of people don't, right?
Yeah.
But
I like
we're
that.
all magical beings. Right? We all come from that spark. You know what I mean? So I had to tap back into that magic. I had to do my money magic. I had to, you know, talk to my altar more.
Yeah.
You know, feed it more.
Yep.
All of that good
growing,
stuff.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's the realm we're living in. We're not living a physical
What's flipping?
experience,
Yeah.
right? So I tell people all the time, from the moment we wake up, we in spiritual warfare. From the moment we wake up, we're in spiritual warfare. So what we do throughout that day to protect our spirit and our loved ones and our nature is on you, you know? And that goes down to who we with, music we listen to, food we eat,
Intentions.
even what we saying out of our mouth, right?
Yeah.
How we spelling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love it, man. I love it. I love the nation I come from, the people that I've been surrounded by, and I'm fortunate, man. I'm grateful and I'm thankful, and I just, you know, I'm striving to continue and take it to another level. I feel like I've just now started hitting my stride, and I've been doing this a long time. You know what I mean? From the time, you know, one major thing I forgot to leave out, and I find myself wanting to say this more because it makes me proud, but you know, everyone knows who's Curtis Blow is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was fortunate enough to write and produce 2 songs for him at the age of 19, 20 years old, somewhere around there. You know, those songs never came out, but I still have the demos as my proof. You know what I mean? And I feel, and in that studio, it was the same studio, Run DMC, and all of the greats, Fat Boys, they will all be in this studio.
Wow.
So I was just, you know, the flyest fly on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just, Waldo type shit. This dude is everywhere, but it was just the people I know. Yeah. And when you're a real person, you get to be around real genuine people. So yeah, that experience made me feel like, so I tell people might not see me on a mainstream level, right? But I tell people, man, I've been in limos, I've performed all over. Yeah. I've written for this one. I've written songs with Don for Karen Wheeler, and it's coming through that house. That's a whole nother episode, right? Yeah. We want to have an episode of what took place in the Smoking Heads house in Queens. Yeah. It was a house that was all boarded up.
Yeah.
Right? It was all boarded up. If on a beautiful block in Queens, 171st Street, right? And it was all or 116th Street. It was all boarded up, and it looked like a crack house.
Yeah.
But inside, it looked like Scott's studio. Like that. Probably bigger, just more equipment, because he had live room, same thing. And then he lived upstairs, which was like a flush, home. But if you drove by it, he was like,
didn't know what it was.
Because it was all boarded up. But the people that went through that home, man, we wasn't living in those times of record everything. That's the only regret. We didn't document.
Mm-hmm. That was documented.
It was just, you had to be there.
Yes,
a moment in time, as I like to say it. A moment in time. So salute to all the, brothers and sisters that came through that house. There's so many to name. I grew up there. I was able to meet and maintain a lot of relationships from that, and again, man, I'm thankful.
Man, it was a dope interview, man.
Yeah.
Dope conversation. Not even an interview, dope conversation.
Yes, sir.
Man, we're going to wrap up, but I just want to thank you for being here, sitting with us today, Kil.
Yes, sir.
Taking time. I know we were pushing the day a little bit, so we ain't going to hold it too long. DJ and what? Tamaya.
What's up?
Skip.
Yep.
Kil.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you for joining us on the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
That's it for today's episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Hilltop Glove.